all, and welcome back to another thrilling episode of Off the Dome. I'm your humble interviewer, Jordan Brown, and with me for the very first time is our incredible improviser. Say hi, incredible improviser.
Hi.
It's really exciting. My tooth didn't fall out that time. The last 2 consecutive interviews, it has. I'm getting a bridge put in, and it was supposed to happen yesterday, and the dentist office lost their internet connection, and they couldn't do it. They're like, we can't take x-rays without the internet. I'm like, I feel like people could do that before the internet. Could we just do that?
Well, you gotta have your subscription to X-Rayly. You know, it's
it really. So anyway, so I still have a false tooth right here-ish that may fall out at any moment.
When you do have internet connection, though, the ability to access your patient's X-ray records on the cloud is so useful.
I would imagine so.
Like let's say you're visiting your in-laws and you're trying to show off to your brother-in-law, and you're just like, hey, I had this lady come in with the most fucked up mouth. Let me show you. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I just want to put the bridge in that I paid them money for. Anyway, Sarah, Thank you so much. This is so exciting. This is exciting for a bunch of reasons, but the biggest one is you are officially the 69th person I have interviewed who has worked for Dropout in some capacity.
Oh my God, I'm so honored. That feels. I mean, I guess by the time you're getting down to 69, you're not going to be dealing with big hitters, but
I've interviewed so few big hitters from Dropout.
That's not true. I've seen you interview. I've seen you interview all the top billing people, haven't I?
I've never interviewed a single intrepid hero from Dimension 20. I haven't gotten none of the 6. And people on the internet make fun of me about it a lot.
But you've interviewed Brennan.
I have interviewed Brennan, but he doesn't count as an intrepid hero because he says say hi. Anyway,
he's top billing.
He is a top billing. You're right.
Anyway, so I technically have worked at Dropout. Not in any capacity anyone watching would probably know me from.
Disagree, but
okay.
I mean, look, you've helped build sets for Dropout, which is a very important thing.
That's true.
I've talked to people who literally have just done paid sponsorships for Dropout. So like it goes from Sam Reich to like literally like, hey, will you tell people a new season of D20 is coming on your video series where you eat sandwiches that are made randomly by rolling dice. Shout out to Jake. Who makes sandwiches 3 times a week.
Shout out to Jake. What is that? Sandwich table?
It's roll for sandwich.
Roll for sandwich.
Yeah,
they were.
It's a good series.
I met you at Gen Con last year. And
yes,
I remember that they were also at Gen Con because my friend Amy Vorpal did a live show with them.
Yes, at like a little local game store. It was very fun. Yeah, you'll be at Gen Con again this year.
I will.
With Chill Touch, one of my favorite improv experiences I've ever seen.
Oh my God, thank you.
Can you explain for the folks what makes Chill Touch different than your standard improv show?
For sure. So the way we like to talk about it is, so because we've already talked about Dimension 20, y'all listening, you're probably familiar. There's been this whole trend of improvisers playing Dungeons and Dragons. And with Chill Touch, we asked ourselves, what happens if you get a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons players to do improv? We're trying something new. Improv is normally the domain of sort of like, improv is for cool kids, right? Improv has a ton of cultural cachet. And we asked ourselves, what happens if we finally make, an improv show for nerds? Mm-hmm. The way the show works is our intrepid leader, Ross Bryant, will get a bunch of suggestions from the audience, which then go to fill out 1 or 2 like tables of 20 suggestions of a bunch of different kinds. And then it's really more of like a short form show, but in order to get the short form suggestions, we don't have a Drew Carey present. So instead we will roll D20s and get suggestions off of our suggestion table. And the team is me, Mary Lou Kolbenschlag, Ross Bryant, and now officially Zach Reno. And the 4 of us all play D&D together for real. Like, that's our home table, plus our friends Clint and Megan. and my girlfriend Willa, and that like because we do so much D&D together, like off camera, um, and we're all genuine nerds, we try to lean really hard into that in this show in particular. So the audience is usually like D&D fans, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it was super fun. Like I said, I've seen a good amount of improv, I would say, and it was like it's such a unique way to capture still obviously like improv, but to be like, oh, and also we're gonna add another weird element to it. Of we're gonna roll dice so that like the combination of suggestions makes even less sense than they normally do,
Yes.
which is impressive.
Yeah, and I should also add one of the things we like doing is like all good improv teams, we enjoy mostly fucking with each other. So part of how the show works is at any point, anyone in the team, or if we have a guest DM at the show, the guest DM can interrupt the scene and say like, "Oh, it sounds like Mary Lou, you're trying to convince Zach's character of something. Let's roll and see how you did." And so it's trying to get more of that D&D flavor where the improvisers, we're having to adapt on the fly to what the dice are telling us about our scenes, or we'll repeat scenes multiple times and say like, what happens if you rolled a 2? What happens if you rolled a 20, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's super fun. I remember at Gen Con last year, I'm guessing that with Ross Bryant at an improv show, you have never gone through an entire show where someone did not scream out Shakespeare as one of the suggestions, which is fair.
Yeah.
It's the wildest skill that's ever existed in humanity. I don't understand how. I've also seen the Improv Shakespeare Company. It doesn't make sense to me that those human beings exist and can do it
Oh yeah,
at that level.
they're all crazy. They're all
But
fucking geniuses.
yeah, but at one point, Ross was convincing, I don't remember, I think it was Mary Lou, to murder her husband, the king. And I believe you called and you're like, Ross, it sounds like you're trying to persuade her. Let's roll for it. And you rolled like a 2. And Ross immediately just flipped from like this beautiful, eloquent thing to, come on. Just like,
Yeah.
just like an immediate turn. And it's such a, all of it's so fun. It also, at least at Gen Con, had the very weird experience of improv in the the brightest room imaginable for like 200 people, which is,
Yeah.
I would say, a unique improv experience.
It was like 400 people.
Was it?
And
Yeah.
I've been doing improv for 9 years, and that's far and away the most people I've ever performed for.
It was so much fun. I am so excited. I've got the tickets aren't on sale yet. If you're what day I don't know what day, whatever day, if you're watching
18th,
this, buy
May
a ticket.
18th?
It's May 18th. I was trying to think of when I'm publishing this, which is Friday, which is May 16th.
Okay.
So in theory, if you're a Patreon subscriber, then you could see this in time to get a ticket. But yeah, it was so much fun. I can't wait. I'll definitely, I may go to both shows. That's the beautiful thing about improv, because you have 2 shows this year at Gen Con. The beautiful thing about improv, you go to every show, they're guaranteed to be different. You couldn't repeat them if you tried.
No, we couldn't. As you were repeating that scene from a year ago at me, I was just like, yeah. Oh yeah, that did happen.
Yeah. It's one of those, it's very funny. Like I talked to Ross, God, it was probably like a year ago at this point, and a coworker of mine had just seen him do Shakespeare improv in like Des Moines or something.
Yeah.
And she was like, here's what the name of the play was. And so I asked him about it, and he was like, that sounds really familiar. And I was like, you did it 2 days ago. And he's like, oh, it's ours. And I was like, yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, like the improvised Shakespeare crew, especially when they're touring, they're doing so many shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're also, I was going to say, tell me about HRT, which feels like a weird thing to ask, but specifically the show HRT not the replacement.
I'm happy to talk about either one.
Yeah. We'll get into the other one probably at some point.
Yeah, if you are watching or listening and you are new to me, I will confirm, I am a trans woman. So hormone replacement therapy, if you have any questions about it, hit me up. But okay, so that's a very funny, specific show for you to ask about, because it's not actually a show at all. That is a team. that is doing.
Oh,
It
I,
is me. It is and my friends Laser and Blake, and the three of us are all trans, and we're just doing a little musical improv set at an indie improv show called Candy Apple Red, hosted by my good friends, including Mary Lou. So it's that is the most recent thing I posted about on Instagram, which totally makes sense that you identified it. And Laser did a fantastic job with the poster, so it makes it look way more
it's
legit.
it's a
Um,
really good poster.
I think the hope is that that becomes a longer running team. Like the world of improv is strange because every show evolves out of something like this, where it's just kind of three people who are like, "Hey, we've never played together. We like each other. Do you want to do a set here? See if it vibes." And then down the line, if we're like, "Yeah, that was great. Let's pitch it to theaters. Let's like whatever." It's these things kind of grow organically like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I got to talk to Laser a couple of months ago, right before The Joy Who Lived started, the all trans and gender nonconforming festival that I believe you did your
I
one
did.
woman question
Yes.
mark show at. Yeah, it's super. God, that name's so good.
It's
Um,
really
uh,
good.
it's so good. I think I have a T-shirt. I don't remember which I bought. I got the T-shirt. Like I bought like back to Kickstarter level. It was like a T-shirt level, and it's
Hmm.
either the Joy Who Lived T-shirt or a wizard turning an unnamed author into a frog. And I
Hmm.
don't remember which T-shirt I chose in the end because they were
Yeah.
both really fun.
Yeah. Both are great.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah. Now, I'm
yeah.
glad you talked to Laser about that.
Yeah. It was super great. He was obviously wonderful. Yeah. It's so you were all right. So you're part of HRT. You're part of is it Herald Team or is it Herald Team XOXO? I don't understand. There are so many variations of things.
Great. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'll make your life easier. I'm no longer part of the Herald Team XOXO because the
Oh.
Herald Team XOXO is the name of the team. Herald Team is the institution, a house team that plays on Herald Night at the Upright Citizens Brigade, and our whole team was cut
Oh no.
about 5 weeks ago. So you are all good.
It,
No, it's just the nature. That's the nature of the beast. That's prov. It's people. Yeah, Herald as an institution, it is cool. It's a fantastic opportunity. It's a great opportunity to play with people you never would have met. Like I didn't know any of the people I played with before, really, and I'm glad I got to meet a bunch of people. You get a bunch of stage time. You get free coaching paid for by the theater, which is all awesome. Um, and the problem is there's only like 64 total slots for. I think they have like between 700 and 900 people audition each year. So yeah, like it's the life cycle in Herald is always pretty short, and it was a fun year. I'm glad I got to do it.
yeah. Yeah. It also, I'm sure, doesn't make it easier that the UCB theater is about as small as you can have for a theater. Or at least it
Yeah.
was when I was in LA.
Yes. Oh, it's
I
still that small.
Great. I spent many nights cross-legged on the stage, just hoping that someone wasn't going to trip over me
Yeah.
because they had run out of seats in the audience, and they're just like, "You sit on stage," which
Yeah.
is
And
weird.
like by the time you have people sitting on the stage, like you're at like max capacity, and that's still like 120 people.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a small theater, which makes it
Um,
fun. It's great for improv.
yeah, yeah. I saw. I don't remember how many shows I saw there. I will say one of my. This is so stupid. I'm sorry. Now I'm just going to tell you a story about a thing I saw.
Bring it. Bring it.
It was Todd Glass.
Okay.
And I saw him 3 weeks in a row do the exact same bit where he would come out on stage, pretend he threw his back out, and then claim to be an insult comic. So he would drag himself into the audience to insult people's shoes. And each week he would reference the previous week and he was like, I know it seems like this is a bit because I did it last week. And he just kept doing it every time I saw him. And it was like, you know how small that theater is to just like drag yourself out off the stage into the crowd to insult people. It killed every time.
I love that. That's the kind of
Yeah.
weird, fucked up shit that I personally love. And I don't do it very much because it's like kind of frowned upon officially. I love referencing previous shows that there's no guarantee anyone in the audience has seen. Because
Yeah.
yeah, like these are live theater things. Like if they weren't there, they won't get it. But a
Yeah.
running bit for yourself and your teammates and like the 5 people who might have seen all those shows like you, it's magic.
It killed. At least with me. I don't remember how anyone else responded. I found it funnier every single week.
And that's
Yeah,
all that
it's
matters.
yeah. You.
Can I tell
Yeah,
you
sorry.
about the
Yes, please.
I recently made one of the best jokes in my life, and and no one in the audience got it, and so that's recreate this joke for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. It's an improv scene. So describing improv is like describing a dream. It doesn't make sense. But we were at a good, the bad, and the ugly medical office, and I was, I was one of 3 women from a local Wild West brothel who'd come in to ask the doctor about their STIs. And when it was my turn, I said, "Doctor, and I'm worried I've got chlamydia of the throat because I've been enjoying too much Listasi del Oral." Do you get the joke?
No, I do not.
Yeah. Okay, it's the best joke I've ever made. It's actually a perfect joke. And here's unfortunately why no one gets it. It requires it requires that you know that one of the best tracks on the soundtrack of The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, and the score is called L'Estasi dell'Oro.
Incredible.
Because, the ecstasy of gold. And if you don't know that, then the joke makes no sense. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've never seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but I love the score.
Oh, man. I assume no one on stage got it either.
No one in the theater knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, like, this is kind of, if you're an improv student and you're listening to this, like, don't do this. But when you're 9 years into doing improv, if you're not entertaining yourself, if you don't like pepper in some stuff that's just purely for your own personal joy, what are you doing? What's the point? Like, if you're focused on achievement and like following the rules, why are you in improv? Go do something that'll pay you money.
Super fair. You said, you're 9 years in improv. How did you get your start? Why are you still doing this? I think is the question people will probably want to know.
Okay. Good question. I had just moved to LA from Shanghai, and I was working as the motion graphics artist for the YouTube channel Wisecrack. And not the motion graphics artist, that was Drew. I was a motion graphics artist. Actually, that's not even true. I'm lying to you. I did motion graphics sometimes. My official job was I was managing their Facebook page because it was 2016 and I'm a millennial and I had the most millennial job possible. And it was 2016, so it was pivot to video. This is when College Humor was dying. This is when Cracked died. I was a full-time employee focused on Facebook video for this YouTube channel. Anyway, my parents came to visit, and my mom said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I don't want to think about it." So she bought tickets to Baby Wants Candy, a team with Ross Bryant and many other very talented people. And I'd never really seen improv before. I'd seen like one show in college that was okay. And they did a show called Tree Academy, which I've also asked Ross Bryant about, and he has no memory of course. And it blew my mind. I watched it, and I was like, I didn't know this existed. I didn't know you could just, there's people out here just like making up musicals and having, Baby Wants Candy is a musical improv team. And it blew my mind. Like, I realized in that moment, like, this is what I want to be doing. And so I signed up for classes right away. And I was very lucky and had super supportive parents who also have the financial wherewithal to help pay for me to take those classes. And so I just like took as many as I could that year. And why I'm still doing it, it's it's just it's like a drug. It's being on stage, improvising. It's it's a really unique kind of high that I know not everybody feels, but if you're the kind of person who does feel it, it's like the most addictive thing in the world. And for me, I, I don't think this is generally true of improvisers, but at least in my case, like I'm a chronic perfectionist and as a result, a chronic procrastinator. And in improv, you're just on stage looking at the audience, so there's no time for that. You can't second guess yourself. You can't like go back and edit the thing you said 70 times. You just have to move forward. And so it unlocked an ability to create for me that I felt like I'd been like banging my head against a wall trying to get myself to write stuff for years, and all of a sudden I was creative in a way I never like had felt before. And I just never want to stop doing that.
That's super fair. I mean, look, I've talked to a lot of improvisers on here, and almost always without fail, they're like, "Yeah, if I could just do this for the rest of my life, I would be happy to do this." Like,
Yeah.
which is super fun. I mentioned before we started recording that I post like, hey, on my Patreon when I'm like going to do an interview, like, does anyone have any questions I would ask? And this, I don't. I told you I was like, I don't typically give credit to people for it, but Luke O'Brien wanted to know.
Shout out, Luke.
After your incredible breakdown, this is a direct quote. After your incredible breakdown of Rand as trans allegory, are there any other fantasy stories you see your life experience mapped onto? And I was like, this is a person who took the time to go and like really dive into your work.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, they deserve the credit for the question.
That might be someone who knows my work from back when Mary Lou and I were Wheel of Time micro influencers in 2021. Wow. No one's ever gonna hit the levels of Randall Thor. Like, Wheel of Time is a series I started reading when I was 14, and it was, for those not familiar with the Wheel of Time, this is like the epic American fantasy series. The Song of Ice and Fire is great, but Wheel of Time it's 14 books long. It's over 4 million words long in the series, and it's just this series was with me my whole childhood. Like like I know I'm lucky for when I grew up, because who knows what internet cesspools I would have fallen into if I were younger. But I spent my teenage years on tarvalin.net, like role playing as a warder in Wheel of Time forums. And yeah, I was doing a bunch of fantasy role play with a bunch of adult strangers, but they weren't interested in like any depravity with me. They were like interested in like hey, what do you think? What do you think about Moghedian? Any good theories about Moghedian? What's she gonna do next? And like the community, as a queer kid growing up in Texas who didn't even know what trans people were, so I was just kind of lost and confused for so much of those years. Like, specifically the Wheel of Time universe, the Wheel of Time fan community, like all of it was just like the most purest necessary escapism that helped me get through those years. And I don't think any other fantasy series will ever have that connection with me. As far as which characters can I read as trans, literally all of them. I mean, name a character, I'll tell you why they're trans.
I can't name a character. I've never read any of it. But I believe you.
I mean any series. I mean anything.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Aragorn, trans, go.
Yeah, Aragorn, obviously a tran. First of all, do you see how young Aragorn looks? He's what, 180 something years old? Either he's on estrogen and not telling anyone. Estrogen makes you look young. Like, Or that's a T-boy. That's a T-boy right there. And I kind of lean towards him being a trans man more, just because I feel like a lot of trans men, like Aragorn's like a sweet, soft boy, you know? And like this isn't to emasculate trans men. I'm not saying you're an ooh cinnamon roll boy. I'm saying like he's like a sweet and like in touch with his emotions and like kind emblem of masculinity. And you compare him to like a Boromir or a Faramir, you know, men who grew up loosely in the same culture, albeit 150 years later. I think it's clear that Aragorn has a bit more experience with the feminine, or at least with the oppression put on the feminine, than those guys did.
This is one of the things that I adore about you is I can ask you the dumbest question and you have such a brilliant philosophical answer for it. Like a week ago, I don't even know if it was that, you posted on Instagram, which I think you post somewhat regularly, of like, hey, who has questions about like being trans? And I, the jackass that I am, was like, why are trans people so hot? And you're like, and you recorded like a 60-second video of like thoughtful, like gender euphoria answer, and I was like, oh, this is so much more than what my question deserves.
It's just my favorite. It's like one of my favorite games to play. It's like obviously you weren't being transphobic. You were joking around, and I appreciated it. And I was just playing the bit with you. Um, but like, yeah, I think meaning creation is like an art form. It's a thing we all practice. And I think like just a great way to practice that is to take any question super seriously and try to give your best answer. Like I studied philosophy in college, and it's one thing you're taught in academic philosophy is like the goal is like communication and truth in philosophy. It's not winning like it is in law, for example. I went to law school also, and then I dropped out because I hated it. Um, in philosophy, like if you're answering a challenge someone has posed to you, or you're imagining a potential challenge, like you frame it in the absolute strongest way possible. Like you try to destroy your own argument because that's the only way that like you can have any faith that your argument's good. If you straw man some critic or something, then you're not really answering it. And then like your position is weaker as a result. But if any question that comes your way, you frame at least for yourself in the strongest way possible and answer that question, that's that's going to be like a faster and more effective method towards getting to something true and meaningful, hopefully.
Yeah, I think there could not be a better transition isn't the right word. Segue, that's the right word. Better segue into what is a woman
Oh yeah.
of taking your argument and attempting to crush it with your own mind vice.
Mm.
I've only gotten to see a few clips that you have shared online, but it is fascinating. Um, the clips I've seen chairs, and I have seen
Hmm. Hmm.
very like stereotypical looking like mask and femme people, and then you asking the audience to guess which one. Um, uh,
Yeah, male or
um,
female.
yes, yeah. Can you tell me a bit about what is a woman, a one woman question mark show, where it came from? Like, I just tell me the things about it. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's just like I just did to myself what you were just describing. Like Laser, so Laser was putting on this trans theater festival, Joy Who Lived, which if y'all listened to his episode, you know about. And he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to do a show as part of this?" And I had done a trans puppet musical called Monster Like Me. That's like a short little 30-minute one act last year. And he was reaching out to see if I wanted to do that. And I was like, well, I've always wanted to force myself to try doing a solo show. I've never been on stage by myself before, so I'm going to try that. And he was like, great, what's your show? And I just pitched the joke name, What is a Woman? A One Woman question mark show. I had no plan for it. It's like a reference to the Matt Walsh documentary
Mm-hmm.
from 2 years ago that no one, it's not even relevant anymore. Like
God, I wish it
it's
wasn't relevant
it's
anymore.
unfortunately so relevant, but it's not like people are sitting there like, so what do you think about the Matt Walsh
Right.
documentary
Yes.
from yeah. Yeah, unfortunately it's super relevant. But I pitched that as a joke because Laser needed something. And then I had like 3 months to figure out, okay, but well, now that I have the title, what do I want to do with it? And despite it being a joke, like it was such a unfortunately real question. And uh given the I don't know if you've heard the current climate around trans stuff is not great.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've heard a few things.
yeah. So I was trying to like really force myself to engage with like, okay, well, I know normally I do comedy, but like I'll have an hour on stage. I'll have, 60 people listening to me. What do I actually have to say about this? And the truth is I have a lot to say about it. Like as I discovered, I had like way too much I wanted to say about it. The challenge was narrowing down just to an hour. And have you ever interviewed Clint Trucks?
I have not. I've asked him several times.
Yeah, he's not an on camera guy usually.
I know. I also met him at Gen Con because he was with Chill Touch. So
Yeah. So Clint is in our D&D party, and he produces a lot of the solo show specials for Dropout. Like he produced the Chris Grace show and Adam Conover stand-up special. And so he was getting really stressed on my behalf. He would always be like, so do you have like your script? Is it planned? Is your show ready? Like your show's in a month. Are you ready? And I would just keep being like, I'll figure it out. Because I was like, I'm reading, I'm thinking, I read Judith Butler's new book. I'm having fun reading academic philosophy for the first time in a decade. And I'm thinking about women, of what does it mean to me? And like, it really wasn't until the day of the show that I forced myself to be like, okay, I have to make this PowerPoint now. So I have to organize my thoughts. And I never had a script. It was like, I've talked these ideas, like I've forced all my friends, my partner, my parents to let me talk through these ideas at them so many times over the past few months. I think I'll pull it off. And that was the process, by which I mean there really wasn't one. It was just like very intentionally leaving it flexible because that's my comfort zone is improv.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't even remember the original question. Did that answer it?
Probably. I said, "Can you tell me about the show?"
Oh, okay,
that
cool.
was yeah.
Yeah. So that's the show. The show, like this. If I did the show that lived in my heart, I would have just sat there and forced the audience to self-harm with me for an hour and watch fascists. Like that's really what I wanted to do. I Yeah, like I kept trying to get my friends to. I'd be over I was at a session 0 at Jared Logan's house, and I was like, "Hey guys, do y'all want to watch this Jordan Peterson clip with me? It's really funny." And I'd play it, and they'd be like, "That was just really depressing. Why did you play that for me? Also, never play any shit like that again in my house." And I'd be like, "Oh, you didn't like it, huh? Interesting. Well, I hope they like my show."
Because it's an hour of that.
Yeah, and then my girlfriend like spent months repeatedly begging me, like, at some point you do have to talk about women. You can't just talk about fascists. And so I had to like force myself to find how they intersected in my brain and like why the one question was so naturally focused on the other. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense because it's usually fascists asking the question.
Right.
So I get where the train of thought went.
Yeah.
But yeah, I say like you have a great segment, and I think I say the clip went viral. I don't know if that's true, but we're just going to say it, and therefore it has to be true. Where you're showing chairs.
Yeah. It went viral.
Okay.
I went for reference. I went from 1,100 followers when I posted that clip, and what I thought would be a couple hundred likes from my buddies in LA, to now like 5 weeks later, I'm over 35,000 followers, and that's like 90 something % of that is from that one video.
Yeah. Okay, that's super. Yes, all right. That's I thought it. Look, I didn't look up numbers.
Yeah, no,
I'm
that's
not
what I'm
I'm not a
telling you. Yeah.
numbers guy. But yeah, that clip where you are asking the audience to define a chair, and you're showing them pictures of things that are either chairs or not chairs, and you get to at least I don't know, maybe not my favorite, but like you get to the stool, and there is instant contention in the audience that
Mm.
you can feel of like people who are firmly team chair and firmly not chair. Like having not like really run through the show prior to it, is that the reaction you expected, or was it did you expect people to be like a chair debate to instantly like enrage people? I don't know if that's the right word, but like people picked sides.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I wasn't surprised at all. I so the reason I was using chairs is because that's a common exercise you do in intro philosophy classes all over the world. Um, the challenge to a young student to like try to come up with a definition of a chair that includes everything that is a chair and excludes everything that isn't a chair. That's usually how it's framed. It's not like the picture game that I was playing, but that's what I was harkening back to. And yeah, that's always just like a wild debate. Uh, and I, as a test, I'd done some stories on my Instagram for, at the time, just my friends, um, where I was posting these same pictures I used and just asking polls of like chair or not chair to see, like, okay, is this a diverse enough mix that people will give me different answers? And based on that, I was like, okay, good. There's at least some contentious ones here. So I wasn't surprised at the level of contention. I was surprised how much fun people had. Like, I, yeah, like going into that show, when you're a comedian and you invite people to come see a solo show, they're expecting a comedy. Like, and there's some leeway where it's like that comedy. Like Clint was always asking me, like, well, at what point does it become like the super vulnerable, like tragic turn in the one person show? Like that's part of the genre too. So people expect vulnerability, but I don't think people walking in expected it to just be like a class. um, so I wasn't sure. Like I was worried people would be really bored, and people were so much more invested than I like even hoped they would be. So that's what caught me off guard, um, which was great. Yeah,
Yeah, that's very fun. I definitely remember voting in some chair or not chair
yeah, you
polls.
definitely did. Yeah,
And being, I think instantly being like, why, how could, like seeing like a number pop up and be like, how could that many people be wrong about this clearly
I
chair
mean,
or clearly not chair?
what do you think? Is a stool a chair?
No, it's not. And I don't know why. And I can't tell you.
Yeah, I agree. I would
Yeah.
never call a stool a chair, but if I said to someone like, "Hey, pull up a chair," and they pulled up a stool and sat on it, then I wouldn't be like, "What the fuck are you doing, you
Yeah.
idiot?" You know?
Yeah, it's God, I saw this somewhere because Vic Michaelis did that presentation that vegetables aren't real on Smarty Pants,
Hmm.
and it led me down to this horrible rabbit hole of like the color purple isn't real, and there was some other weird thing that either fish aren't real or everything is fish. Like you can't make a definition that excludes something, but like include like it
Yeah,
becomes this very weird nightmarish world, and I'm like, I hate this so much.
yeah. I mean, it's just the problem with definitions.
Yeah, yeah. Oh God, are you ready to go? Are you ready to go toe to toe with Matt Walsh when he does his inevitable sequel to his documentary, so that he can remain relevant in a world that hates him?
I don't
I
ever
wish
want
more
to.
people hated him, but you don't ever want to meet him. Just punish yourself with his videos.
I don't know. Like Matt Walsh seems like the natural person right now, but for me, it's always been Ben Shapiro.
That's
Like
fair.
that's I have a friend, my friend Wendy, who I went to high school with and lives out here, and they make they're a film person, and um, I've been trying to convince them to make a short film with me that is just like about me trying to debate Ben Shapiro as like a quasi mockumentary, but also like if I found out any path I could take to genuinely debate Ben Shapiro, like I would take it. Um, yeah, Matt Walsh just doesn't look fun. Like Matt Walsh is a little bit too like in the scale of like the Sart scale of like why not to debate an anti-Semite. Are you familiar with that quote thing?
I am vaguely. I know what you're talking about, but my brain cannot like pull the whole
Yeah.
thing.
So
Yeah.
Sartre has a long essay he wrote where it's like, I mean, he's writing in the 40s, so anti-Semite for him means Nazi, uh, not just like, not just, I don't know, whatever you listener think it means. It's not that. He's talking about Nazis. And he's saying like, there's no point in having an argument with Nazis because Nazis don't care about the truth. They are allowed to play with words because they don't care about the truth, and you are not because you do. And so like you'll never be able to catch them on a contradiction or pin them down on anything because they don't care. Like that doesn't matter to them.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Walsh is like so far on that end of the spectrum that it doesn't even sound fun to try to talk to him. Whereas Ben Shapiro, I think, still has somewhere in his brain this idea that like he is the smartest, most rationalist boy, and he seems more fun to debate.
Yeah. Oh man. Look, did Ben Shapiro make the documentary, quasi documentary that was like fellas playing basketball? Is that his or was that Matt Walsh?
I see. You're talking about Lady Ballers?
Is that what it's called? Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Well, the fun backstory of Lady Ballers, which was both, it was a Daily Wire production, is that they wanted it to be a documentary.
Yes, I know that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they couldn't do it.
They couldn't.
As it
So
turns
they just made a straight up fiction movie. It's
Yeah.
not even a mockumentary. It's just a comedy.
Mm. All right. I've only seen the part where they're like, we were gonna make a documentary, and then I usually flip past whatever video it is because I'm like, I
Which is
wish
so fair
you
of
didn't
you.
exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, I did have a question for you. That is just the dumbest question. What was it like representing OJ Simpson and Phil Spector? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
There is a Sara Caplan who represented OJ Simpson and Phil
Oh,
Spector. So
nice.
when you Google Sara Caplan, she also comes up.
Okay,
And
Kaplan with a C?
Kaplan with a C.
All right. Hell yeah.
And I saw it and I was like, God, what a wild, like on her website is like, here are people I've defended. And I'm like, well,
Mhm.
why would you choose? I get it, but like you chose these two as your like go to, like, no,
Yeah.
in the 90s, this is what I was up to.
Yep. She won.
Yeah, I guess that is true. Yeah. It really,
She
it
didn't
was,
win with Phil Spector though.
no, I think he went to jail for murder.
Yeah, he did.
But
So I don't know if I'd advertise that one.
yeah, just baffling to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if that was me, I've just repressed that memory.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like a Jekyll and Hyde situation.
Super fair.
Except they
While you,
keep the same name.
yeah, it's the rose that like separates you from the gotta be bad person just based on who you're defending and choosing to talk about.
I mean, lawyer is automatically going to get like that's automatically a red flag. Like lawyers are starting in bad person territory for me, and they have to prove that they're not because their whole job is to be a like a truth distorting mercenary for the highest bidder. And I know some great people who are lawyers, but they're public defenders and they work for the ACLU or they're like public eviction attorneys. But if you just work for a law firm, like, no offense to my various cousins who do, but like, you're starting in negative territory.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, speaking of cousins, and I'm just assuming that means they're in Texas. What's your favorite kolache flavor? This was actually how I was going to
Ooh.
start the interview, and then I got distracted by it being the 69th interview, and then we just fell
Yeah.
down a rabbit hole.
Are we talking Kolache Factory, or are we talking like Hrushkas?
Either one.
Okay, because I feel like they're different food items.
That's
Um,
fair.
yeah, I mean, if I'm at like a genuine Czech like gas station kolache
Mhm.
shop in East Texas, I'm just gonna get sausage and cheese.
Yeah,
Um, it's if I'm at Kolache Factory, I'm gonna get a whole fucking box of a variety of flavors. But if I could only have one, wow, I guess in the end it was pointless to distinguish because I'm still gonna go with sausage and cheese.
that's fair.
That's just the essential kolache
It's
in
very
my
good.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
I mean, I think I'm right there with you. I'm recently lactose intolerant, 2020 lactose
Mm.
intolerant.
Hmm.
So like a lot of the like fruit ones also have cream cheese, which just means I have to like take pills. Like
Yeah.
it can't be like a spur of the moment thing, and I want a spur of the moment bite of anything. So
Yeah. I mean, the
um,
bad news for you, unfortunately, Jordan, is all kolaches have milk in them because the kolache dough is an enriched milk dough.
but some of them don't bother my tummy. Some of them do.
That's so
I don't
fair.
know. I don't
Yeah.
know how. I don't know how
I've been
lactose
lactose
works.
intolerant my whole life. So
Fair.
I just ignore it at this point and I just eat what I want to eat and then I suffer.
Yeah, fair
And
enough.
I don't know that that's the best way to go through life, but I have no willpower.
Yeah, it's such a bummer. Like, cause, like I just like we'll get pizza or whatever, and we'll have leftover pizza, and I'm like, I just want a bite of this cold pizza. I don't want to like have to go like digging through to find a pill so that I can take so that I can like eat a one bite of pizza.
Yeah. I was driving home
But
last night and I was really craving a Jack in the Box Oreo milkshake.
mm,
And I didn't get it because like milkshakes are the one thing that I can't do. Like ice cream and milkshakes and milk I
yeah,
don't do. Like those will fuck me up. But God, I wanted it. Jack in the
yeah, I
Box corporate. I know you listen to this podcast.
for sure.
Non-dairy milkshakes. It's
Yeah,
2025. You're in LA, okay?
yeah. I've also learned so much about like which cheeses have sugar and like if it doesn't have sugar in it, like it's lactose free basically. And I just like it's a thing that prior to 2020, like I never thought about. And then
Yeah.
obviously I spent a lot of time thinking about what's going to demolish me. And I'm like, oh, it turns out most cheddar's good to go. Like what a
Yeah.
weird thing.
I think the
But
general rule is like the harder the cheese, the less
yeah,
lactose, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Manchego, you're golden.
Yep.
You're
It's
more of like a off-white, but you're good to go.
it's very good. All right. If folks out there, let's say folks are in LA and they
Hmm.
really wanted to, like, I don't know, take like an improv class with you, is that a thing that they could do?
Oh man, sometimes it depends. Um, Here's what I'll say. If you're in LA, I will coach your improv team.
Well, there you go.
And if you're in LA and you're brand new to improv and you're trans or queer, message me because if I hit a critical mass, which only needs to be like 8 to 10 people, I would love to run a like all trans, all queer improv class on my own. Um, I don't teach at any of the official theaters, and I had a musical improv workshop that I taught for all of last year that I have since shut down. The reality is that the LA economy is bad right now. I guess everyone's economy is bad, but
Yeah.
the like the entertainment industry never really recovered from the strikes, and it's I it, I think like UCB for instance, like official improv classes seem to be crushing it. Schools crushing it. Um, People don't have a ton of disposable income right now, and I'm mostly saying this purely as cope because I also have a bunch of friends who teach independent improv workshops who are also crushing it, but I wasn't. So I canceled mine. But if you want me to teach you, I will. I love teaching improv. It's like my favorite thing to do in the world.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. If a trans or queer person, or was it trans and queer? I didn't catch
No,
the
no, no.
modifier in the middle.
Trans or like I'm
Trans
not
or got
gonna
it.
if you feel like you should be in a queer improv class, I'm not going to question you on that.
Okay. Where can they find you to send you that message to let you know they're in?
Yes, please. You can DM me on Instagram at Sara Rose Caplan. That's the best place to reach me.
Absolutely amazing. I think is that. Do you have any other shows coming up that I have missed that have escaped my
Ooh.
thoughts?
Well, if you're in LA, this is a new announcement. So, breaking news here uh,
Yes.
on the pod. I'm going to be doing a monthly show at the Elysian Vault, which is like Elysian's little black box theater, called Symposium. It's going to be, if you've seen those clips from my What is a Woman show, where it's very like TED Talk lecture style, it's going to be that style, but it's going to be new subject matter every month. Um, and basically think of it as like live video essays because it's what I would want to be talking about if I were as if I were ContraPoints, but I'm not because I don't have the willpower to actually film things or edit them. So instead, I will be doing them live on stage, and you can come watch them once a month. And I will also now and again be bringing in guest lecturers like my friends Ross Bryant or Zach or other people I find interesting. And what I would say sets this apart from a show like Smarty Pants, which is a very fun, funny show, is what I want to do is give like people I know in the world of comedy or associated with it, who I also know are just like really smart and have a lot of interesting things to talk about. Like Ross is such a perfect example of like I want them to have a chance to come give a serious talk about something that will inevitably be funny because he's a
Mhm.
comedian. But so the focus will be on the learning. It's like an actual symposium series. So if you enjoy learning, if you want to see TED Talks, come to this show series once a month at the Elysian. You can also Chill Touch is back at UCB on May 31st. There's going to be live and live stream tickets, and also fun big announcement. Our first Chill Touch show at Gen Con, which is the Friday, August 2nd at
Mhm.
11 a.m. Indianapolis time, we will be performing on the official Gen Con festival streaming stage. So you'll be able to
Ooh,
get live stream tickets to that show as well, even if you're not able to make it to the con.
that's all of those things so amazing. Oh man, wait. You said May 31st?
May 31st is Chill Touch
Oh,
live at Upright Citizens Brigade.
oh my goodness, I'm going to be in town. I have to come.
Really? You should
Yeah,
come.
I'm coming to Battle at the Bowl for the Dimension 20 show
Oh,
at the Hollywood
amazing.
Bowl. So
Well,
yes, if you go to that show, you'll see me there as well for sure.
amazing.
Um,
Hell yeah.
Amazing. Sarah, thank you so much. This is such a delight. I'm glad you posted a video where you're like, I'll come on your podcast. And I was like, great, me.
Jordan, thank you so much. My I just like talking to people.
Yeah,
Uh, so thank you for having me on and chatting with me.
yeah, this was fantastic. I don't know how to end an interview, so I'm just going to hit stop recording.
Okay.